It is amazing, that amazing grace, and how sweet the sound that has saved a wretch like me, who was once lost, but His grace has brought me home. Once I was blind, but now I can see. Is it not amazing? Yes, it was grace that taught my heart to feel, and it was grace my fears were relieved. How precious this grace has saved me. The hour I first believed, how precious did Thy grace appear. The very first day I believe, my chains and your chains are gone. We have been set free by God, my Savior. Oh, has ransomed me beyond delight and amazing grace. I want to sing the first stanza again. It's amazing grace, and how sweet the sound that has saved somebody who was once wretched like me. I was lost. I was once lost. I was once lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I can see. Maybe one day you too were once lost, but His grace has found you. Maybe once you were blind, but now you can see. Was lost by grace. It is just by grace. It's not by works. It is by grace. The grace of God, the love of God has brought us home. Hey, we were all once lost. Once we were lost to total darkness, to confusion, to fear of death. Once we were slaves, by His grace has all saved us all. Bless you.
A very good morning to each and every one of you. We want to truly, deeply appreciate each and every one of you for making it this morning. I'm sure, permit me to remove this. Don't worry. I am safe. and the distance between you and me is cool. So let's just enjoy it. All right. You might be wondering why this meeting. I'm sure you were there one day and then someone gave you a letter, an invitation letter. What is this all about? Before I go on, I would want you to watch something on the screen. And then as you look at it, I'm sure it's something that you've all seen, or quite a number of you have seen. But there are lessons that I want to share with you today, and to give you a good idea as to why we have met here. Now on this screen, those of you at the back, can you see? Okay. It's a very popular just watch it. I'm sure quite a number of you have seen it. I hope I'm not blocking anybody. Maybe let me go this way so that you can. So just watch. Those of you who have already seen it, just remind yourself and enjoy it. All right. So what we have just watched, to give you an idea, is a relay. Now you see that a young guy runs so hard, takes on the baton, runs with all his might, and then hands over to another small boy. After all the hard work, the running, hands over to the young man. The young boy also takes the baton and goes the reverse direction instead of also going forward. But you see that he's going the reverse direction, but with also energy and strength. And then now the teacher or whoever is supervising has to run after him, chase him to get him back. What are the lessons from this? Anyway, my name is E.K. Aqua. I'm from the western region of Ghana. And I schooled in, every school I went is one of the best in the world. My university education was from the university under Christ Control, UCC. If you are here and you went to any other university, God have mercy on you. No, it's under Christ Control. It's university under Christ Control. When we got there, those of you, those times, there were a hot battle between Professor Dixon, Tony Edu, and all those people. A whole sort of thing. So we decided to change the name to, they were calling the university for constant confusion, and we refused it and said University under Christ Control. Thereafter, Professor Papon took over, and there was a bit of stability in the place. Then from there, I went to China, did my master's in reproductive technology in a university called Guangxi Agricultural University, or Guangxi Noye Tachwe. Yeah, don't worry. It's like I'm speaking in tongues. Huh? So from there I came back, wanted to do some business myself, but eventually I ended up lecturing at university for development studies. And then at the same time, doubling as a visiting lecturer to my former university, University of Cape Coast. Then eventually, we are here. So that's a brief background of myself. I'm married to a lovely lady called Abigail. We are blessed with 3 lovely kids. J-Lord, Crystal, and Devita. The last one is called Devita because that name is an acronym for divine intervention. Because I was taking my wife to the hospital, and then along the way, before we go to Tech, just after Tech Junction, he said, the baby is coming, the baby is coming. I said, oh, are you sure? And when I looked down there, I saw the hair. I said, push. Then she pushed, and there I was, a midwife. So I thought that was divine intervention. Yes, in a car, I don't know anything about midwifery, nothing. So if there was any complication, you can imagine what would have happened from there to the church and all those things. But I thought and that was the girl, and our only girl. So that was good. So that is a brief about me, and I'm happy to have you here. Again, I started by saying that there is a reason for inviting you. All of you here, per the introduction, are lovely people, people of influence, people of impact. Some of you are in the security services, corporate governance, into business, legal. We have the High Court judge here. Quite a number of you introduce yourself as lawyers. We are of the firm belief that every person of authority, whether an imam, a pastor, a traditional ruler, a high court judge, a CEO, anybody in authority, a government, chairman of a political party, those in governance, Bible says that there is no authority that is not of God. And so any authority, any position of leadership, we believe that it is God that has placed you there. And because it's God that has placed you there, we have responsibility to honor you and not to disrespect you. It doesn't matter even if the person is respectfully misbehaving. That is between him and God. And it's up to us to show our mind. But we have no business disrespecting the person. There's a difference between correcting or saying your mind and disrespecting. And we believe that as a church, we ought to respect anybody that is in authority. And once you honor the person, you are not directly honoring the person, but I believe that you are honoring God. And so because of that, getting to the end of the year, we thought that, look, who are the movers and shakers of the Upper East environment and beyond? Who are the people that have a bit of influence here and there? We need to celebrate them and thank God for their lives. Sometimes, one person's decision can destroy many lives or help lives. And so if somebody is in position of leadership and at least a soul is blessed or happy, we need to thank God for the person's life. And so all of us here are in position of leadership, and we're happy to have you here. But you see, something is taking place. Yesterday we were at a meeting, and there's a saying that you come to Africa, and this is the place that people pray a lot, but we are among the poorest. People are so religious. And the nations that have nothing to do with religion seems to be succeeding. Is the problem religion, or there's a different problem? And today we are looking at, because we are leaders, we want to share something on a terminology I have coined, trans-relatorship. You know, those of us with university mentality lecturing, we always want to come out with either a theory or challenge something. So this is a concept I have developed, and I thought that we could share in this moment briefly, because we are all in position of leadership. And you see the gentleman there has a lot of questions on his mind. And what are these questions? There is a sad realization, and I'm wondering, what is the right way? There is a dilemma. There's something that I'm wondering. And what is that dilemma? I have seen that some people, with all the resources at their disposal, they could be pastors or imams, there could be national or corporate leaders, political leaders, people in governance, people in the corporate civil service. And when these people retire or they leave office, they are completely forgotten, or they move into oblivion. And sometimes some of them even want to force and remain to be relevant. You have 4 years, you have 5 years, you have 10 years or whatever. During that period, you couldn't make all the impact. And after your term is up, you still want to remain. There's something missing. There's something missing. You may have pastors, senior pastors, but when they retire, they want to now find relevance because they couldn't leave what we call a living legacy. And the concept of transferring leadership is living legacy. There's no legacy trailing them. They struggle to remain relevant. There's another sad realization, and I'll come to that, but what is the focus? You see, you have somebody like Jesus Christ, irrespective of your religion, without any disrespect. I'm just using an example. Sometimes we use academicians, we use theologians, we use any kind of. So I'm using Jesus as an example here. Here was someone who didn't have much. He even borrowed a tomb to be buried. Some of us, we have special places we want to be buried, but he didn't even have a tomb, so he had to borrow that tomb. He had only a few school disciples with him, maybe not the professors and the lawyers and the doctors that we have here, but he has such an incredible impact that we have about 2.4 billion people in the world today who claim allegiance to him. Within 3 years, people are willing to die for him, people are willing to have their head cut for him. But he used some unschooled people and still left a legacy that today we are following. What was the secret of this man? Can we as leaders learn something from this great leader who has left a legacy? But what is the situation we see today? What is the reality? And this is the legacy challenge. We have found, and there are quite a number of research that shows that a lot of people start good businesses, start good industry, but within a few period, the level of dynamism that was in it gets off. Today, you look at people who had big companies, you may want to remember some of them, and they are nowhere to be found. People start, you see musicians, they start very well. Some few years, they are gone. Their impact is so low. Leaders come, and their impact is so low. They are unable to keep that same level of dynamism. They plateau, or they fade away. They are nowhere to be seen. Now, a research conducted by We Forum indicates that the life expectancy of Fortune 500 companies, when we say Fortune 500 companies, we're talking about the most promising, most vibrant organizations or companies that are doing very well, that have made up to the top 500 in the world. We are told that their average lifespan is 40 years. After 40 years, they begin to fade. I mean, you can talk of names. You remember Ericsson. You Swiss watches. Now where are they? So many organizations, so many companies that today are nowhere. In Ghana, I don't want to mention names, but we have some soaps. We have some companies that couldn't even outlive their leaders. What was the missing link? What was the challenge? You look at another research by McKinsey and Company, and that is even more scary. And this is a very recognized, reputable research institution. For those of you who are already aware, McKinsey and Company. And the information is that the average lifespan of companies listed in Standard and Poor's 500 companies was 61 years in 1958. So around 1958, companies were able to last for about 61 years. Now, they did further research and they realized that by 1980, it had gotten down to just 25 years. So from 61 years, now 25 years. When it came to 2011, just this 2011, the life expectancy of organizations had dropped to 18 years. Things begin and they fade away. People start movements, people start organizations, and they are unable to sustain it. But as leaders, we want to have an opportunity not to only celebrate you, but pray for you and share our heart with you that whatever legacy you have will even outlive you. That your children will call you blessed. That the people you lead will recognize your impact and forever remember you. And that is our prayer, and that is what we are thinking about.